Well, changing the mood a little bit, Janice Fiamengo was a professor of English literature at the University of Ottawa in Canada from 2003 to 2019. She's now retired and is the creator of the Fiamengo File, a YouTube series at Studio Brule dedicated to exposing the fraud of academic feminism. She's an anti-feminist, and its effect on the wider culture. She's also a man rights supporter, so lovies, start freaking out. She edited and introduced Sons of Feminism, Men Have Their Say, a collection of personal essays. And she has some interesting observations to make about both Joe Biden and his running mate, Kamala-like comma, not Kamala-like Carmel or Camel, Harris. Janice, welcome to Outsiders.
Me on your show.
Oh, it's great to have you. Now, tell us a little bit about yourself firstly, before we get to Kamala Harris and in particular, but tell us about your work, your men's rights work, and then tell us what you find so disturbing about the Joe Biden, I guess the hypocrisy of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Well, yes, I taught English, as you said, English literature at the University of Ottawa for a long time. And while I was there, I became increasingly disenchanted with academic feminism. And I found that it was a really pernicious ideology that blamed men for being born male. And so I began making a video series about men's issues, especially looking at how academic feminism has permeated the broader culture, which with its ideas about male perfidy, female innocent victimhood, rape culture, female superiority, moral superiority, and all of the really very damaging ideas that feminism represents today, in my opinion. I know I'm an outsider in having that opinion. And so recently I was reading about Kamala Harris and thinking about all of the ways in which she is an example of the extraordinary double standards of our public conversation about women and men in politics, and how difficult it is to have honest conversations about these double standards, because the moment one tries to do so, one is immediately called a misogynist, or in this case, because Kamala Harris is a woman of color, which means she is an even more sacred, innocent victim, that one is called a misogynist and a racist. She's an interesting case in that she is clearly an identity politics ideologue. She was chosen because she is a woman of color. Joe Biden pledged back in March that he would choose a woman as his VP candidate. And then more recently, he was under a great deal of pressure to choose a Black woman. And so this was very clear for many months. And yet, if one says that she was chosen because she is a woman of color, I mean, she isn't really Black as far as I understand. Her mother is Indian from India, and her father is half Black and half white from Jamaica. But anyway, if one talks about the fact that she was chosen because she ticks various identity boxes, one is told that, this is a terrible thing to say. We are not to say that. We are to say that she was chosen because of her qualifications. But at the same time, if one criticizes her qualifications and the decisions, her record as the Attorney General for California, then one is told that one is a misogynist for attacking this person.
So, Janice, just tell me briefly, the hypocrisy. Kamala Harris was one of the ones who was very critical of Brett Kavanaugh, said that the woman who was making complaints against him should be believed and he shouldn't be believed. Yet when allegations were made about Joe Biden, it was the complete opposite. Or initially, no, she accused him and then she swapped. So I don't understand the hypocrisy that's going on here. What is the story?
Well, it's quite extraordinary, isn't it? She did say in 2019 that she believed the various women. I think altogether there were 7 women. This is before Tara Reid, who came forward and said that Joe Biden had made them very uncomfortable by touching them inappropriately. She said she absolutely believed those women. She also said that she believed Tara Reid, who claimed that she had been sexually assaulted by Joe Biden, and yet, when he invited her to stand as his running mate, she accepted. So what does that mean? Either it means that she did not really believe these women, as she had claimed she had done, or it means that she did and still does presumably believe them, but that doesn't bother her enough not to accept the VP nomination. So either way, it seems to represent an appalling lack of principle. And and this is part of the entire identity politics game, that it is so hypocritical to the core. Joe Biden himself, of course, has said on many occasions, and particularly in relation to the accusation by Christine Blasey Ford against Brett Kavanaugh, that when a woman comes forward with the bright lights of public scrutiny upon her, we should all believe her, because she would not make an allegation of sexual misconduct if there wasn't a core of truth to it, supposedly because it's such a painful ordeal to come forward with an accusation. And of course, if that were his own belief, that even if a woman forgets, even if her story changes over time, even if there are glaring inconsistencies, that we should still accept that there is this core of truth. Well, if he really believed that, then he should step down himself.
Absolutely. Janice, Rita, do you want a quick question? We're just running out of time.
The Bill Clinton issue that the Democrats are going to have, because he's going to be speaking at the National Convention, and of course the allegations against him are numerous, and they've got a lot more corroboration and evidence behind them than anything Brett Kavanaugh ever faced.
Oh, yes, absolutely. And it's always been the case that supporters of a person like Bill Clinton will either weasel out, simply turn a blind eye to some very credible allegations, or will even admit that they believe that such abuse did take place, but that, he's our rapist. That it's more important in this case to defeat Donald Trump, or to defeat whatever right-wing foe is wreaking his right-wing evil on the world, than in this case to take seriously the charges of women against whatever particular male candidate it happens to be.
James.
And so
Sorry, Janice. James.
Oh, I was just going to say, but isn't this a terrible message to women who have been survivors of assault and things like this, that politics actually trumps justice in all of this? It would seem to me that this would be driving a lot of women away from the Democrats and towards other candidates, because why would you go to the party that's going to throw them under the bus if the politics aren't right?
Well, one would certainly think so, but it seems to me that the claim that laws and policies that advantage women will be put into place by the Democratic Party has such a powerful appeal for many women, especially women who are inclined towards feminism, that they're willing to overlook these kinds of glaring inconsistencies.
Unbelievable.
And the disregard.
Janice, thanks so much for coming on. Sorry, we've got to cut it there. We've got to go to a commercial break. Thanks so much, Janice Fiamengo.
Thank you.
You can find her on the Fiamengo Files on YouTube. Thanks so much for coming on Outsiders, and we'll chat to you again. Thanks.